Alrighty, the team who has the round has deemed that they've had enough time. They're not taking their full 3 minutes, so the time is up for preparation. If we can give our full attention to who is your speaker for the round? Rob. Alrighty, Rob, you have the floor for 1 minute. You're articulating your second and final point of pro-segregated or self-contained classes. Go ahead.
Okay, so you guys make a lot of great points about students getting involved in the class, but there are a lot of negative sides to it. You think that it's the right format, positive environment. Well, who's to say that the one student could have trouble with exceptionalities that needs special help with equipment and stuff, and also for people that are learning, they might get distracted because of this child that needs more help. Say they have behavioral issues and they're acting out in class. That's not good for us. There's safety issues. There's stories of kids acting out and physically assaulting people. Like, you don't want to do that either. Bullying, that accounts for both sides too. Students that are learning could get bullied, but also the person that's being included, there's physical, emotional, socially, they can all be felt like they're actually excluded. The idea of inclusion sounds good, but just because they're in the classroom doesn't mean it is an inclusive environment.
Alrighty, 30 seconds to rebuttal your point. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Clout. Let's just talk about clout for 2 seconds and I'll turn it back over. But clout. Nothing that has come out of your mouth in this debate has had any clout. Not one point that you've given us gives us any reason to not go all inclusive in the school system.
Piggybacking on what he was saying, I would say, yeah, you're right, Rob. Thank you. We have made a lot of great points. We haven't heard one from you guys yet, but that's okay. Coming back to what you're saying about inclusion and the teacher's model, it's the teacher's job to make sure that everybody in the classroom is included. And if the teacher's not living up to the expectations, then there's an issue with the teaching systematic approach of their educational
time. Sorry. Okay, and you guys have 30 seconds to drive home your final point.
I think John said it too, though, that students have a big major impact on it too. It's not just the teachers. So you can try as much as you want as a leader to make things happen, but your students are still going to act out in certain ways, and they're not always going to be accepting, even if you want it to be.
I mean, you're talking about safety standpoint, and you want to include these students, but what if when you include these students, they're being bullied more because now they're being made a spectacle of?
Say safety has no clout too. What if somebody's down on the floor injured? That's clout.
And you guys are all about inclusion, but you're excluding the students that are exceptional. Oh, this is a genius. He has to go into a separate classroom, but now you're not willing to accept that someone doesn't go into a classroom because they're not.
Thank you. Okay, so that concludes the final round of our arguments, and we're moving into our conclusions. Before we go into conclusions, I just want to say thank you very much to both groups for taking it so seriously and really bringing some good points to the forefront for discussion. If nothing else, it's been educational. So give yourselves a round of applause on that front before we end the debate.
We'll give ourselves a round of applause.
So the final round is the conclusion. The inclusion group is going to lead off. The self-contained group is going to have the final say on the debate. There will be no rebuttals this round. It's just driving home your final points. If you want to bring up some key points that they brought up and discredit them during your conclusion, you may do so. But really, you're just trying to drive home your own points and why you think that either inclusion or self-contained classrooms is ideal.
So we're not going to do like politics where we just try and rain on their parade, or
if there's
You mean the approach you guys have had all?
Try something new.
Try something new. Okay, so if there's time, if you guys wish to do it in a presidential style, we can. If you want to take some time, but I do probably want to get started on the next lecture. So just drive home those final points with your conclusion. You do have a full minute. Does either group need any preparation before their conclusion goes?
Ready?
We've got chat. We're not worried.
Okay. So you got a full minute to say what you will, give your final ideas, and the floor is yours. Go ahead.
In conclusion, our objectives as teaching professionals is to create the greatest learning opportunities for all students. And we believe in the inclusive model is the strongest way to achieve this. It also plays a positive role contributing to new attitudes, outlooks, and social acceptance to people with exceptionalities. Full inclusion is not the world we live in today, but it is the world that we can live in tomorrow, in the future.
20 seconds if you'd like to add anything else at all. 15 seconds?
Nothing else we need to add.
Okay, very good. Okay, the final word on this debate. You have 1 minute to articulate your conclusion. Go ahead.
Okay, so we are clearly of the stance and opinion that separate classes for specialized students is of the highest priority, not only for those students on that end of the spectrum, but for all other students for various reasons. We do also want to give the greatest learning opportunities to every student in that classroom and within that school by providing a realistic, consistent, and predictable learning environment for those kids who need special attention. Kids that have been identified through the IEP process that need accommodations, need special learning environments. The idea of inclusion, wonderful. Wonderful idea. Practicality, that's not the world we live in. When the 21-year-old student leaves high school, where are they included then? How are they going to be included? They're not. That's not the world we live in. While yes, in the bubble, that would be great if we could, that's not the world we live in.
Time. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Canadian
Let's get a collegial handshake of the person across from you.
Benjamin, or sorry, Robert.